All right, so you've given us quite the stack of articles all about data science.
Yeah,
I'm ready to really dig in and see what we can uncover.
lots to dig into.
I see we've got articles on like all the basics and even stuff about machine learning and Google's early innovations. So
Yeah,
let's
it's going to be fun.
let's unpack it all
Yeah,
and see what aha moments we can find.
it's definitely a hot topic.
Yeah.
And for good reason. I mean, it's changing how we solve problems and make decisions across so many different fields. So,
Okay, so before we go full on matrix here,
right.
with all the ones and zeros, can you remind me, like, at its core, what EAS data science?
Mm.
I see there's an excerpt here called Introduction to Data Science.
Yeah, that's a great place to start.
Maybe that's a good place to start.
It really focuses on the idea that data science is all about finding those hidden patterns and relationships in information.
Okay.
You know, think of it this way. Everything we observe has characteristics, right? And we can record those characteristics as data. Data science is about using algorithms to sift through all those data points
Okay.
and finding those connections that we as humans might miss.
So instead of just, like, seeing a mountain of facts and figures,
Yeah,
data science is helping us connect the dots and really get the meaning from it all.
exactly. It's about going beyond just describing what happened and trying to figure out why it happened. So, for example, if you have a business,
All right.
they might use data science not just to understand that their customers are leaving, but what specific factors are actually driving them away.
Oh, okay.
And that's the kind of information you can act on.
Gotcha. Yeah, so it's more about turning the data into, like, actionable information.
Actionable insights.
Yeah. Okay, and this
Yeah.
this digital transformation piece you've included here suggests that data science isn't just for big companies.
Right.
It talks about how this whole wave of technology is really changing the game for everyone.
Absolutely. And we're really seeing a convergence of a lot of different forces. Cloud computing provides us with that storage and that processing power.
Okay.
Big data gives us the raw material.
Right.
And then data science gives us the tools to make sense of it all. And this has leveled the playing field in a way that we couldn't even imagine just a few years ago.
Yeah, the article actually mentioned how even, like, small businesses can compete globally now,
Yeah,
which is really amazing.
it really is.
But okay, so with all of this data flying around, how do we keep from, like, drowning in information overload? There's got to be a system for managing all this, right?
That's where this concept of big data comes in.
Okay.
And it's not just about the sheer volume of information. This source breaks it down into what we call the 3 V's: volume, velocity, and variety.
Okay.
And then we also add in a 4th V, which is veracity.
Okay, so volume, I'm guessing, is just like the amount of data.
The sheer amount of data, yes.
Velocity is how fast it's coming at us.
Exactly how fast it's coming at us and how fast it's changing.
And variety is the different types of data.
All the different types of data we're dealing with.
Okay, but what is veracity all about?
Veracity is really talking about the accuracy and the trustworthiness of the data. So in a world where we're just bombarded with information, how do you know that the data you're using to make decisions is actually reliable?
Right. Garbage in, garbage out, like they say.
Yeah.
So with all this data flying at us at warp speed, how do we as humans keep up? I mean, my email inbox alone feels like a black hole sometimes.
Right.
Like, I can't.
And that's a perfect example. And that leads us to this idea of machine-assisted workload reduction, or what we call MAWR.
Okay.
And the source talks about how this involves using algorithms and artificial intelligence to automate tasks, filter through all of the noise, and do the heavy lifting for us.
Okay.
So we can focus on the things that really require that human judgment.
Okay, so it's like having a super efficient assistant that sorts through all that chaos and then just highlights what's important.
Yes, exactly. Think of it like this. Think about the spam filters in your email, the recommendation algorithms on your streaming services, even the fraud detection systems used by banks.
Oh.
Those are all examples of MAWR in action. By training algorithms on these massive data sets, we can teach them to recognize patterns and make decisions that would take humans hours, days, even years to accomplish.
Wow, so we're kind of like teaching the machines to think like us, but at a much faster and larger scale.
In a way, yes. And that brings us to one of the most fascinating aspects of data science, which is machine learning.
Okay.
And we've got an excerpt here that dives into how these algorithms are designed to learn from data and improve their performance over time without having to be specifically programmed for every single scenario.
Wait, so you're saying machines can actually learn, like without having like step-by-step instructions? That sounds like science fiction. How does that even work?
It really is incredible. And the key is In the way that these algorithms are designed, instead of being hard-coded with these specific rules, they're given a framework and a set of examples to learn from. And as they're exposed to more and more data, they adjust their internal parameters to become more accurate in their predictions and their decisions.
So I'm starting to see how all of this connects.
Right.
We're taking massive amounts of data.
Right.
We're using these big data principles to manage it,
Yeah.
then apply machine learning to, like, extract those insights and automate tasks. It's like a whole new way of, like, approaching problem solving.
You got it. And what's even more fascinating is that this field is constantly evolving.
Right.
We're seeing new techniques, new applications emerge all the time, so it's really pushing the boundaries of what's possible with data.
Wow. Okay, this deep dive is already, like, making my brain do backflips. So
Yeah.
before we get too deep into the weeds here, let's rewind a bit. Like, how do we even get to this point where machines can learn and make decisions? There's something in here about Google's approach to processing data that sounds like a major turning point.
You're absolutely right. That's a key piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
The batch processing section talks about how Google really revolutionized the way that we handle these massive data sets. In the past, data processing involved bringing all the data to one central computer.
Okay.
But as the volume of data just exploded, that became super inefficient.
So what did Google do differently? Did they just build, like, a supercomputer the size of a small planet?
Not quite. Their breakthrough was realizing that they could break the data down into smaller chunks, distribute those chunks across multiple computers, process them all in parallel, and then combine the results. It's like creating an assembly line for data.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
So instead of one giant computer, like, struggling to handle everything, they created a system where tons of computers could work together.
Exactly. And this innovation wasn't limited to Google. Yahoo adopted a similar approach, which then led to the development of Hadoop, which is an open source framework that made this distributed processing power accessible to everyone. So it was a game changer that paved the way for this big data era that we're living in now.
Wow. So this wasn't just, like, a technical feat. It was like a paradigm shift. Like, it changed
Yeah.
the whole landscape of how we process data.
It did. It really did.
But, okay, how does all of this super fast data crunching really impact, like, everyday people, like you and me?
Right.
Like, does this actually change our lives in, like, a tangible way?
Absolutely. Think about how quickly you get search results on Google,
Okay, yeah.
how seamlessly your online shopping carts update, like in real time,
Right?
how news stories spread across social media platforms within seconds.
Okay, yeah.
Those are all made possible by these advancements in data processing that we've been talking about.
Okay, so it's not just about these, like, abstract concepts or the jargon.
Right.
It's really about tangible improvements to, like, our daily experience.
Exactly, exactly. And as we go deeper into the world of machine learning, artificial intelligence, those implications become even more profound.
Wow. Okay, well, my brain is officially full for now.
It's a lot to take in.
It's a lot to take in. It's like a crash course in data science.
Yeah.
But we've only just, like, scratched the surface, right?
Boy, we've laid the groundwork, but there's definitely so much more to explore. Next, we can delve into these neural networks
Okay.
and uncover how they're powering some of the most cutting-edge applications of data science.
Okay, I'm ready. I can't wait.
Mhm.
Stay tuned as we continue our deep dive into this fascinating world of data science. We'll be right back after a short break.
Welcome back. I'm excited to kind of dive even deeper into some of these like mind-bending concepts
Yeah.
that we were talking about before the break.
Yeah, we were just getting into machine learning, so
Exactly.
let's pick up where we left off.
Yeah, let's jump right back in. We were talking about how machines can learn from data.
Right, but it still feels like magic to me, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely one of the most fascinating areas of data science, and it's all thanks to these things called neural networks,
Okay.
which are essentially these complex computer systems that are inspired by the structure of the human brain.
Okay, so instead of, like, lines of code telling the computer exactly what to do, we have these networks that can adapt and learn on their own. Is that, like, the basic idea?
You got it. Imagine a network of interconnected nodes, kind of like neurons in your brain, and each node performs a simple calculation.
Okay.
And then these nodes are organized into layers,
Okay.
and then information flows from one layer to the next, with each layer processing the data and passing it along.
So it's like a chain reaction, like each step is building on the one before it.
Exactly. And here's the really cool part. The connections between these nodes can be strengthened or weakened based on the data they receive.
Oh, okay.
So that allows the network to learn and adapt over time, becoming more accurate in its predictions.
Oh, okay. So it's like it's constantly rewiring itself.
Yeah.
And like getting smarter and more efficient as it encounters more data.
Precisely.
Okay, so how does all this like actually translate into like real world results? Like what can these neural networks actually do?
So think about things like recommendation algorithms that suggest, products you might like based on your past purchases, or language translation tools that can instantly convert text from one language to another.
Yeah.
Those are all powered by neural networks.
Oh, okay. So this isn't just some abstract concept.
No, not at all.
This is like already woven into so many parts of our digital lives.
Absolutely. And one of the most exciting areas of neural network research is something called deep learning.
Okay.
And this involves neural networks with many, many layers, which allows them to handle even more complex tasks.
So the deeper the network, the deeper the learning.
You could say that, yeah. Deep learning has really been a game changer in fields like image recognition, natural language processing, even medical diagnosis. It's the technology that's making self-driving cars possible and helping doctors detect diseases earlier.
This is incredible. It sounds like we're just scratching the surface of what's possible.
We are, and as data science continues to advance, we can expect to see even more innovative applications emerge. It's a really exciting time.
So we've talked about all these tools and techniques, the algorithms, the neural networks. I'm curious, like, what are some of the bigger implications? Like, how is this all shaping our world beyond just, cool gadgets and like faster internet speeds?
That's a great question. And it gets at the heart of why data science is so transformative. It's not just about the technology. It's about understanding human behavior, predicting future trends, and ultimately making better decisions.
So we're not just talking about optimizing ad campaigns or building smarter robots.
Right.
We're talking about using data to understand ourselves and the world around us in a whole new way.
Exactly. Data science is being used to study everything from climate change to social movements to the spread of diseases. It's giving us insights into these patterns and trends that would have been impossible to see before.
Wow. So data science isn't just about making things more efficient.
Yeah.
It's about like expanding our knowledge,
Absolutely.
our understanding of like the whole world.
It's giving us these new tools to address some of the most complex challenges that we're facing.
Wow.
For example, researchers are using data science to develop early warning systems for natural disasters, to predict outbreaks of infectious diseases, even to design personalized cancer treatments.
Those are some pretty big applications.
Yeah.
Sounds like data science has the potential to like really make a difference.
It absolutely does. And it's not just about finding those solutions, it's also about asking better questions.
Okay.
Data science can help us challenge those assumptions, identify biases, and ultimately, just make better decisions
Okay.
as individuals and as a society.
This is so fascinating, but I gotta admit, this is a lot to take in. It feels like we're standing at the edge of a new frontier here,
Yeah.
full of possibilities,
Mm.
but also like a lot of uncharted territory.
Yeah.
So,
We are in uncharted territory. And with any new exploration into the unknown, there are challenges and risks to consider. We have to be really mindful about how these technologies are developed and how they are deployed, and ensuring that they're used responsibly and ethically.
that's a really good point. Just because we can do something with data doesn't mean we should,
Right?
right? We really need to think about the consequences of our actions.
Exactly. And that's where the human element comes in.
Yeah.
Data science is a powerful tool, but it's really up to us to decide how we use it. We need to be having those open conversations about the ethical implications of these technologies and ensuring that they're aligned with our values.
I agree. It's not enough to just focus on the technical aspects.
Yeah.
We really need to think about the bigger picture, the long-term impact.
Absolutely. And that's a responsibility that we all share. Data scientists, policymakers, business leaders, everyday citizens, we all have a role to play in shaping the future of this technology and making sure that it's used for good.
This deep dive has really opened my eyes to like the power and the potential of data science.
Yeah.
It's clearly way more than just crunching numbers or building algorithms.
Absolutely.
It's about understanding ourselves, our world, and like the choices we make.
I couldn't have said it better myself. And as we continue to explore data science, I encourage everyone to stay curious, ask those questions, and really engage in the conversation.
Yeah.
The more we understand about this field, the better equipped we'll be to harness its power for the benefit of all.
Well, this has been an incredible journey so far. and I am very eager to see where it takes us next.
Me too.
But before we wrap up this whole deep dive, I think we need to address the elephant in the room.
Okay.
Remember all that talk about machines learning?
Yeah.
What does that mean for US? The humans who are creating all this data in the first place.
Yeah.
That's a conversation we need to have. Stay tuned for the final part of our data science deep dive coming up after the break.
All right, we're back and ready to tackle the big question.
If machines are getting so good at learning from all this data,
Right.
what does that mean for us humans?
Right.
You know, the ones creating the data in the first place.
It's a question that's becoming more and more relevant as data science just becomes more integrated in our lives.
Right.
You know, we've talked about all this amazing potential,
Yeah.
but it's important to remember that at the end of the day, they're tools.
Right.
And tools can be used in many ways.
Yeah, it's kind of like if you give a kid like a super powerful telescope,
Yeah.
they could use it to explore the wonders of the universe.
Yeah.
Or they could use it to peek into their neighbor's window.
Exactly.
It all depends on how it's used, right?
That's a great analogy. And that's why it's so important to have these open and honest conversations
Yeah.
about the implications of all of this.
Right.
You know, we need to be thinking about the ethical considerations, potential biases, and the long-term consequences.
So it's not just about the technology itself.
Right.
It's about the choices we make on how we develop and use it.
Exactly. Data science can be an incredibly powerful force for good,
Right.
but it's up to us to ensure that it's used responsibly and ethically.
Yeah.
You know, we really need to be asking those tough questions like, who has access to the data?
Right.
How is it being used? What safeguards are in place to prevent misuse?
Those are some heavy questions.
Yeah.
It feels like we're like in uncharted territory here,
Yeah.
navigating a whole new world
It is uncharted territory.
of possibilities.
And that's why it's so important to have these conversations now.
Yeah.
While these technologies are still relatively young,
Right.
we have this opportunity to shape how they develop
Yeah.
and ensure that they align with our values as a society.
But like, where do we even begin? I mean, this all feels so complex
Right.
and technical.
It can feel overwhelming, I get that.
Yeah.
But one of the most important things we can do is just become more aware
Okay.
of the data we're creating
Yeah.
and how it's being used. Every time you click on a link, make a purchase, post on social media,
Yeah.
you're leaving this digital footprint that can be analyzed and used by these algorithms.
So it's not just about protecting our privacy.
Right.
It's about understanding that our data
Mm.
is like a reflection of ourselves.
Yes.
And that it can shape the world around us.
Precisely. The data that we generate collectively creates this kind of digital mirror
Wow.
that reflects our values, our biases, our aspirations.
Okay.
And as these algorithms get more sophisticated, they have more and more influence on our experiences
Okay.
in ways we may not even realize.
That's fascinating. And also, like, a little unsettling.
It is.
It's like we're handing over a part of ourselves to these algorithms
Right.
and trusting them to make decisions that impact our lives.
It's a trust that shouldn't be taken lightly. And that's why it's so important to demand transparency
Right.
from the companies and organizations that are collecting and using our data.
Right.
We need to know how our data is being used,
Right.
what safeguards are in place.
Yeah. And what recourse we have if something goes wrong.
So it's not just about being passive consumers of technology.
Right.
It's about being active participants
Exactly.
in shaping this future of data science.
Absolutely. We all have a role to play in making sure these technologies are used for good.
Okay.
You know, we can start by educating ourselves,
Right.
asking questions,
Yeah.
and demanding accountability from those who hold the reins of these powerful tools.
Well, this deep dive has been incredible. We've explored all the fundamentals of data science, from the basic principles to the crazy capabilities of machine learning.
Right.
But I think even more importantly, we've uncovered some of the deeper implications of this whole data science revolution and the challenges that we face as a society in harnessing this power responsibly.
It's been great exploring all of this with you.
Yeah, this has been fun.
And as we move forward, I just encourage everyone to stay curious, stay engaged, and stay informed.
Yeah.
The future of data science is still being written, and we all have a role to play. Well said. And to all of our listeners, we hope this deep dive has sparked your curiosity and maybe even inspired you to learn more about this amazing field.
Yeah.
Remember, data science is more than just tools and techniques.
Right.
It's this powerful force that's shaping our world, and it's up to all of us to ensure that it's used to create a better future.
Absolutely.
For everyone.
For everyone.
Thanks for joining us.